We got plenty of them. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another show, a live edition of Legend from the Past and Legend from the Future. I am Armand, and this is Ayana Young, and this is Roger Walker. How you guys doing tonight? I'm doing good, man. Every day is a new day.
Welcome,
Once we
welcome,
get rid of all
everybody.
this green. Absolutely, absolutely. Last night I saw on Netflix Jamie's show, Jamie Foxx. Yeah, I didn't look at that yet. Oh man, if you haven't seen it, you need to take a look at it. It is just amazing. It's very encouraging. It's great. It's great. And what I found out was his daughter, his 14-year-old daughter, went to the hospital room with her guitar. She said, "I know what my daddy needs." She started playing the guitar, and he came back. He came out of the coma that he was in. It was just amazing. It's a nice show. Nice show. How was your day today, Yana?
Wow. It's been a productive day, mainly indoors. It's been raining the entire day, so it's been good. No complaints.
Man, I'm telling you. What about you, Raj? How was your day? It's busy. It started at 4:15. And then after I finished, take helping my nephew out and all that type stuff, because my nephew he's going to training because he got promoted in NSA, so I have to take his son to the daycare. Okay. And after that, I went to the gym and got some folk that I'm training now. Came on back home, took care of some stuff there, and after this over with, I'm thinking about dropping some stuff off in Annapolis, but they might have to wait till tomorrow. I don't feel like dealing with that weather. Well, before we bring our guests to the stage, I want to say what's up to Orlando Mako. Welcome to the show, my brother. Welcome to the show. We got a nice one tonight, Ayana. Nice one tonight, Roger. We're going to talk about the history of the Flames a little bit. This guy, his family is just big in the city of Annapolis. And they were very, very athletic. Not just Donald, but his brothers. They were just amazing. You guys ready to bring them on? Bring him.
All right, let's
What's up? Bring him. What's up, Lodi? What's up, Cuzzo? Coming to the stage. King Donald Snowden. How you doing, King?
I'm better than it. I see you guys. I'm okay.
Well, he must be talking about a young. Hey, look, we just want to welcome you to the show, man, and we're gonna have a nice, fun time. Are you ready for it?
Oh yes, of course, yes, sir.
All right, man. When I look at you, I feel like I'm looking at Elton. Y'all almost look alike.
That's true. We were true brothers.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, but let's go back in time. Can we go back in time? Is that okay?
Anything you want, sir.
Tell us in the audience where you were born and raised.
I was born in Annapolis, Maryland, Naval Academy, 1940. Oh, 1940 at the Naval Academy.
At the Naval Academy, huh?
Yeah, because my father was in the military.
Oh, okay. That's the Reverend Snowden, right?
Yes,
Awesome, awesome, awesome. You what are some of the things that you enjoyed doing while growing up?
playing ball. That's what we always did, and we played all the sports, football, basketball, everything that was in season. And plus, we played and swimming. So if you went swimming and you couldn't swim, you know what happened. You throw you overboard.
So,
So you didn't come around the water and was down River Shore back behind what do you call it, over a court,
oh
over by Clay Street.
yeah,
And that's
guys.
where we played at. And it was a young man named Donnie Green. I don't know where you all have ever heard of him. But Donnie Green used to play for who? The Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
And he was a tackle. And he was from Maryland. And he was from Annapolis. And he was from the hood. And I saved his life when he went swimming. And what happened was I hadn't seen him for years because they moved from Annapolis to California.
Mm-hmm.
So he came back through Annapolis one time and we saw each other. And he recognized me and I recognized him. And he said, man, I'm glad I saw you. I said, why? He said, because it's between you and your brother, Tanny and me. One of you guys saved my life, and I'm thinking it's you. And that's who it was. It was me. After all those years.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Not only that's what makes you legendary. You know,
Oh, bless your heart. Yeah.
that's awesome.
And my thing was I always wanted to play sports. And I'm just knee high to a duck. I wasn't big enough to be to play in the big leagues, you know, and that type of thing. So I was fearless.
So now, not only did you play football, but you played baseball too, right?
Yes, I played baseball at Maryland State College when I was there.
That's a long time ago. Maryland State College, huh?
Absolutely. That was before it was called University of Maryland Eastern Shore.
Awesome. Awesome.
That was the original name. So we're going back, brothers. We're going back to the 60s, the 50s, you know, and that type of thing.
Yes, we are. Now, you, what high school did you go? Did you go to Bates?
Yeah, I went to Bates, yes.
So how was I know you made great grades and all that good stuff, you know, but how was the sports back in the day at Bates?
Well, we had Mr. Hope, we had Mr. Webb, and we had Mr. Pace. And Mr. Webb was the football coach. Mr. Hope was the assistant basketball coach. No, the basketball coach. And Mr. Pace was assistant to Mr. Webb. And the teams that we had, we were called Little Giants because we were small. You know what I mean? And then we went up to Baltimore to play Armstrong, and then we went to Washington, D.C. to play Fairmont Heights and places like that. And those guys were huge, man. But we had that attitude about ourselves and we was just crazy because we had played with each other for so long and everything like that. We don't mind getting
hit. So you play on the streets and everything, concrete.
Everything, yeah. Dust bowl over a court where the rec center is. That's where we played basketball and football and that type of thing. And then we was over in the terrace. We played in charcoal and all that kind of stuff. So we played anywhere we could play. And it was a seasonal thing. Football, basketball, baseball, football, and swimming. And Elton was recruited by South Carolina State College because the coach came up here to scout him. And we were in the back of terrace at the time.
Yeah.
And we were playing ball. And we saw these men with uniforms on, not uniforms, suits on. And it were strangers. Yeah. So we didn't have a clue who the hell they were. So next thing I know, he was over my mother's house telling my mother that they wanted to recruit him to South Carolina State College.
Wow.
And he had a Western name to Morgan as well, and then the University of Maryland. But one thing about Morgan, they thought they had him. Really? So they didn't even scout him or anything like that because they knew that he was good because of Jack Dennis that went there, and I'm talking to Morgan. And Lenny Brown went to Morgan, and Dougie Persian went to Morgan, and all those guys were from where? Bates. So they must have talked about him. And when Elton went to South Carolina, Next thing you know, we get a letter from, we get a letter from Morgan saying, "Come on up here, and just all you need was a pencil." But he was already in school by then. They thought they had him.
I saw, and this is not about Elton. This is about you, okay? But you can't help but mention something about Elton. I used to watch him, and I could not believe the games he would win in the last minute.
Yes.
He was just amazing. I thought I was watching Johnny Unitas out there.
He was as good as Johnny Unitas. He came before him. He was good as he was.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Yes.
So what I'm gonna do now, King? I'm gonna pass it over to Ayana. But before I do so, I want to say good evening to my good friend Silk Sims. Simplify, my brother, always faithful. Appreciate you. Ayana's on you.
Awesome. So you shared, some of the things that you did in high school. You played football. What position did you play?
Linebacker. In high school.
Right.
Yeah.
That's surprising considering you mentioned you were small in stature.
That was crazy.
Was that the main ingredient, being crazy, or?
Yeah, and fearless, yes, ma'am. but I learned a lot because I got a scholarship to go to Maryland.
Okay.
In football, I'm talking in Maryland State to go to play football,
mm-hmm.
And that's when I got some sense. Anyway, in the hell I'm going up as small as I am, going to play against those guys. There's no way, And then you have to run 100, and 2 flat if you're going to be able to play like that.
Yeah.
So that's where I went. Yeah, go ahead.
Once you got to college, you got to Maryland State College. I noticed that you had a kind of a unique major. Tell us about what you majored in, and if you ended up doing something with that major.
That major was building construction, and that was really unique because that was like a vocational program that you would go to college for now, and it's a specific. But when I went there, they didn't have engineering. They just had some courses in engineering. That's what I wanted to major in. So the closest thing to engineering was that. And so I got some engineering courses out of that. And that's what I majored in. And I'm going to tell you the truth. I ain't like college. I know most people that go to college say they like it, but I ain't like it.
I didn't like it either.
Excuse me?
I said I didn't like it either. I can.
Well, welcome to the club. But the thing about all that is that I didn't want to go to school.
Yeah.
And my mother, beautiful woman, woo-hoo, she's amazing. But anyway, she said one of her 8 kids were going to college because she had 8 of us.
Wow.
And she said it was automatic that all y'all can finish high school. But one of you 8 is going to finish college. So she had 3 kids in college in 4 years. And she was divorced.
Wow.
With 8 kids. And Elton went first. I went second. And Margot, my sister that I saw passed a couple of years ago, she was third. And when I told my mother that I wasn't going, she just left it alone. She ain't said nothing.
Wow. The
second semester came. And she told me within 2 weeks, she said, "You're going to college." I said, "Huh?" Because I didn't have a daggone clue. I thought it was all over with. So next thing I know, I'm in college. And so she always did say that somebody's going to graduate. So with us 3 in college, I was the one that graduated.
Wow.
And how did she do all of that? Because she didn't ask me anything. She didn't ask me about a resume. She didn't ask me about guidance counselor or anything. Nothing. Asked me for no money, anything. And so I'm saying to myself, where's all this money coming from? And she was only getting $35 a month for child support. And then not only that, she was working as a maid. But yet she had me in college, Elton in college, and Margot in college. And when I got out of college, don't you know she had already set up for me to go to Georgia Tech engineering school. I said, "Mom, no, I have enough." So, but that's how our mother was the pillar of our community, the pillar of our family. She stayed on her knees more than she stood up.
Yes.
She was a Christian.
Wow.
She loved Jesus. She loved God. And I'm telling you the truth. She was a miracle woman to me.
Mhm.
She was angelic. And then she was the head of the usher boys and ushers in at Asbury Church. And our house was always open to everybody in the community. And she could bake too. Woo! She could bake some rolls, man, and people on Sunday would come around there and get those rolls, or she would tell us to go out, take these rolls to so and such, and that type of thing. And we were 8 of us. We were like a convoy going up to Asbury Church every Saturday. Every Sunday, like a convoy, all 8 of us. And that Saturday, we had to learn scripture before we went to church or Sunday school. And she stayed on her knees so long, it was like she was praying for the world. And now I understand, what faith is, what prayer means, and that type of thing, because of all the things that she did with 8 of us. And then to put me through college and they asked me for a penny.
Wow.
Then not only that, after I got out, I didn't have no student debt, no student loan, nothing like that. It was free and clear. She was amazing. And the people in the community, they were crazy about her. So my sister Sandra was the one when we were talking about the flames. And where did the flames come from? And we both know. And she said, well, the spark came from our mother. That's how that flame got lit, from our mother, because she was one that wanted to be able to be a nurse, a registered nurse. And then back in the day, you know how that when she was living down in Harwood and everything like that, her parents didn't want to send her to school, or wouldn't even want her to come up to Brooklyn to go to school. So she was education minded, and she instilled that in us, all of us. You're gonna get some education. And so she made up her mind to be who she was until she got to the point where she was able to fend on her own, because she always just said, once all you kids out of my life and everything like that, I'm going back to school.
Yeah.
And at age 49, she went back to school at Fleet Business School. And she got her degree and everything like that. And she always wanted to be a nurse. So before she passed, she made that connection to be a nurse. She worked at Crownsville State Hospital. And she was a practical nurse. And
wow, she sounds like a remarkable woman. Wow.
Well, she was awesome. And like I said, she just prayed a lot. And that's what I understand what prayer was all about, believing God, and that type of thing. Because all the things that she was able to do with no money, and I never figured out where all that daggone money coming from. Because
if you find out, you let me know.
Excuse me?
If you find out, you let me know.
Prayer and faith, that's what it was. I looked at it, Your Honor, and I said, that's the only thing that could be.
Wow.
Because like I say, she stayed on her knees almost more than she was upright. and that's when I realized, I said, wow. She was that type of woman that everybody in the community knew who she was and knew the faith that she had and how she would help other people. And she would go around to churches, or she would go to the convalescent homes, to the hospitals and everything like that, to provide her service to people or people that needed it. And she was incredible.
Wow.
And I think she was angelic because she saved my life, not because she brought me into life, but when I was in college. And now I think Maryland State was like 90 miles away from here or something like that, or pretty close, and she didn't have no transportation. So I'm in school, and I got a pain in my stomach, and I called my mother, and she was over there within a couple of hours, or whatever the case may be, and I went right to the hospital. Anne Arundel Hospital, that was over on what's the name street, South Street or Cathedral Street at the time. And she took me over there, and the doctor said he never saw. I had an abdominal mess. It was like he said my stomach was torn to shreds. And he said he never saw an operation like that before. Not only that, he said if you was an hour later, you'd be dead.
Wow.
So when When I woke up from the anesthesia and that type of thing, he came up and told me that. The doctor did. So I stayed out for a couple of weeks. Woo! Back in school. And then another year, a year and a half later, I had a ruptured intestines. Same thing happened where she had to come and get me and take me to the hospital and every day, thing like that. And they told me the same thing. You ain't supposed to be here because it was emergency and that type of thing. So here I'm sitting here. But that's because of her. Where did all that money come from? I don't know what kind of medical, what's the name she had and that type of thing. But she never asked me for anything. And one thing I learned is that I wanted to buy her a house. And she told me she didn't want me to buy her house. And ever since then, I ain't never want no house because she couldn't live in. I ain't want. And so she was an amazing woman. And a lot of people in the community knew her and knew her her love for God, Jesus, and the whole 9 yards.
Yes.
Now I know how we got through it. And now I'm here to be a representative of her and let them know that she is for real.
She was the pillar of the family, and she was the inspiration behind the start of the Annapolis Flames.
Absolutely. That was the spark. Because my sister Sandra and I was talking, and she said, and we were talking about it, she said, "But Donna, what comes before the flame?" And I said, "The spark." And she said, "Our mother was the spark." Because she was the one that always entertained us or wanted us to be whoever we were. And she knew we were athletes and we wanted to play ball and everything like that. So our house was open to the community. Our house was the growing place.
Wow.
And anything we had to do with sports or anything that we had to do to raise money, she would have raffles. She would cook dinners and everything like that. And she would sell stuff for us and everything. And so we started playing softball first. Well, other than playing sandlot amongst ourselves, then we got in a softball league early in my, like about 15 or 16 years old. And Joe Simmons, I don't know anybody who knows Joe Simmons, but he was the one that started the team. And he paid his own money and bought us uniforms and that type of thing. And then after that, then it came the basketball team. And we got money and raised money. And my mother helped us raise money and everything like that to buy uniforms. And they played, and they ain't never lost a game. They played against Pitt Morgan there. And then it came flag football. And through that time, that's when the spark came. The spark then began to come to be lit. The flame.
Wow.
And the flame was then recognized when we played football. And once we started playing football, we started in the county league. And Bob Green, he was a mailman. And he was very inspirational in helping us to get where we were at the time. And he told us, I want you to go down to City Hall. I want you to go somewhere and make them people or talk to those people about getting in the county league. So we got in the county league. And we didn't know nothing about flag football or anything like that. So when we played, I think it was in 66 or something like that, around that time. And when we played, we lost the first game. But then the next time we came out there, we won 13 straight.
Wow.
And they closed down the league. And that's how.
Wow.
And that's how we got to Baltimore.
And
we found out, that they played flag football in Baltimore, and they have been playing flag football in Baltimore for 20 years. They started like in the 1940s. So we went up there in our first years, and they called us the kids from Browns Woods. They didn't know it was black people in Annapolis. And we looked the part. We had some sweatpants on, rubber cleats and that type of thing, and t-shirts or sweatshirts. And that's why they wasn't sure about black people being in Annapolis. All I heard was Browns Woods. And when we went up there, it was a whole new ball game because we didn't know the rules and regulations or anything like it. The difference is that when we were in Annapolis, they played with the county, you only had 7 players. And then you couldn't run up the middle. When we got up there, woohoo! It was like you could run up the middle, and there was 9 players on the team. And those guys were good. They were professionals. They played professional football. They played high school football. They played college football and that type of thing. And those teams were, one of them was called Ports and the other one was called Midwest. And it was crazy. So when we got up there, that was a new awakening for us. It was like when we got in the county. But the only thing up there is they tried to hurt you because that's the way the game was.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Not a question of trying to hurt you, but the idea that they were rough.
They're probably trying to hurt you too. Probably a little bit of both.
That's my point. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. And then you got the referees on their side too. So one way we decided to try to be strong and get nasty and get dirty, we went up to Patuxent, Jessup, the jail up in Jessup. We went up there and played against them. And a lot of guys that were there were from Annapolis, and they saw us and everything, and they was real happy. They said, "Yay, man, yay, okay." And so we played them every year, but they were the ones that got us ready to really play in Baltimore. And once we got back to Baltimore, the next year, the first year, we won about 4 games or something like that. And then when we got back to Baltimore the next year, then we began to be competitive. And Elton, he was the quarterback, and he had all Bates plays and everything like that from Mr. Webb. And as a matter of fact, Mr. Webb even coached us. And so he had the single wing, the I formation, the T, the silent count, and everything like that. And they ain't never seen nothing in Baltimore like that before, especially coming from somebody like us.
Wow.
And so gradually, the people that used to go to Asbury Church or the other churches, they would come to the game. That was their church on Sunday.
All right, with that, I'm going to pass it on to Roger.
Excuse me?
I'm going to pass it to Roger so that Roger can ask you some questions.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. I know that you mentioned Morgan. My sister went to Morgan. She ran track, and my uncle, he played football up there. Now, you graduated from Bates. What year did you graduate from Bates?
58.
Oh, 58. Okay. Because my parents was running around there. My dad and mom, they graduated in 59.
Who were they?
My dad ran track. His name was Roger Parker.
Kiss my go-to him. He was a speeder. Yes, sir. I knew him personally. Yeah, he could get it in 100 and the 200. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he passed away a couple years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that, but he was a hell of a guy. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I knew it was fast. He passed that speed. I skipped me, but he passed that speed to my brother Warren and my sisters Melinda and Alicia. They all ran in college and stuff. Lisa ran at Troy, Melinda ran at Morgan. So one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and thanks for that comment about my dad. And what specific game or moment during your time as a linebacker that stands out to you or have a particular meaning?
The one that we lost to Darcy, I'll never forget as long as I stay black. We had Darcy Harmon. And those players that were on the Darcy Harmon team used to play with us. And a lot of teams that came out of that played were in our team on the Flames. So they left and developed their own team. The Cowboys from South County, Darcy Harmon from North County, and that type of thing, and a few others. But the game that I'm talking about, we played them, and the score was 7-6. And they had the ball on the 20-yard line. Our 20. And don't you know, it was 4th and 23 or 4th and goal at the 20-yard line. And they went in the end zone.
Ooh.
They were fast. I got to the guy, and when I got to him, I grabbed the flag, and he was so fast it just slipped out of my hand. Wow. I still think about that game. And the next game that we were supposed to play was the championship game. Yes. That's the one that stood out in my mind. I still see
Mm.
Can't play that over again. But if you had to play him again, you know what to do now, right?
Oh yeah, well what happened was we told the linebacker, and I had told him initially, because I was the defensive coach, I told him initially, don't get caught inside.
Right.
Well, you know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
He got caught inside.
Mm-hmm.
If he had stayed outside, then it would came to me because I was safety at the time.
Right.
And I could have gotten him. And he wouldn't be able to get to the sideline.
Right.
But once he got to the sideline, Katie barred the door. He just had that speed and everything like that. And he was in the end zone. That's the one. And that hurt.
Wow.
Mm.
Didn't mean to bring up no bad memories now.
No, that was a good memory. No, that's not bad at all. It's just the idea of how you have to be prepared.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it's not always on you. It's always on the other people to know what they're supposed to do.
That's right.
And when you don't know the difference between court inside and outside, that makes a difference. Wow. And he didn't know about, I guess he didn't kind of understand that I told him not, but he was an aggressive player. You know what I mean?
Right.
And when you get those aggressive players, they pretty much do what they want to do at times.
Mm-hmm.
And he did the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Mm-mm-mm.
That
So your dad,
like Armin.
you know, like I always, who, Armin or me?
That sounds, yeah, doing what you want to do, you know. Yeah,
Or me?
And no, that sounds like something he would do, you know.
Yeah,
doing what you want to do and you want to do it.
That's because when I was jumping out them planes, I bumped my head a couple of times, you know, but I'm all right.
Okay, that'll do it.
Yeah. Your dad co-founded the team, co-founded the help, what's it called?
Helping hand, yeah.
Helping hand in the Black community.
Yes, sir.
How did this shape your thoughts and your process when it came to helping individuals?
That was natural for me. That was just a natural thing in our family because we already knew how to help people through our mother, and we was known in the community and everything like that. And then back in the day, I carried orders. And what I mean by that, you had Safeway and American store, and I would go up there with my wagon and take the groceries to wherever they live in the community. You know what I mean? Over in the terrace, down back chute or wherever, Cathedral Street, and that type of thing. So that's how I got involved in the community stuff. But we were always community people. And we always shared our things and everything. And then I was a milkman. I wasn't a milkman. I was a guy that got up 4 o'clock in the morning and helped deliver milk. You remember where the Annapolis Dairy was?
I do.
Where the bus station was?
Right.
That was Annapolis Dairy before it was the bus station.
Okay.
Next to the firehouse, that was on West Street.
Right. Yeah. All that's gone now, though.
Yeah, yes, sir. But that's the time that we were talking about.
Right. I remember as a kid when they was changing it from the dairy to the bus station.
Yeah.
They also had a laundromat up there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Because I lived in Eastport. I lived in Terrace, College Creek.
Okay. What part of College Creek Terrace I lived in?
The top part.
Up Terrace. Yeah.
Up Terrace. If you went down, you ran into Old Bury Court.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Right across from the railroad tracks.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, where that big field was. Right where that big field was, then you had the train station.
Yes. Because trains used to come up there at the time when I was coming. Yeah.
Yeah, they did too when we was a kid. Everybody would be out there talking about, don't go over there, the train coming.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember those days. Yeah, so good times though. These kids would never know that. But when it was social unrest in Annapolis, you helped calm the tension. How did your athletic ability play a role in your leadership style during those times? Oh.
I received a phone call last night. And it was from Roland Brown. And Roland Brown was the owner of the Van Dykes. Did you ever hear of the Van Dykes, the band?
Yes, sir.
That was in Annapolis.
And
it was Roland Brown, Albert Brown, from that family.
Uh-huh.
And he was one of my mentors, and we were good friends. And he had something on his chest because he never called me before. I would always call him, but not always, but just enough to keep in touch.
Right.
And he called me last night, and he didn't know I was going to be on television. And he said, "Man, I don't feel good."
Uh-oh.
He had terminal cancer, and he said, "I'm not going to be here long. But I just want to make you know that you're the only one that know what I'm holding in my heart that I should have gotten out a long time ago."
Uh-oh.
And that was the situation where you were talking about the riot. It was in '68. And it was after Martin Luther King passed. And the guys in the hood came up on West Street and started breaking windows and throwing trash cans and everything like that. I knew the guys. And Roland and I was coming up the street together. And I went over to the guys and said, "Look, man, y'all don't want to do this." And I said, "Please don't do it." And I said, "Y'all know me. They call me Duck Feet." I said, "What I'll do is go down to City Hall Monday," because this was on a Friday.
Right.
"And I will let them know our grievances and the racism that was in the community." And Roland Brown was there at the time as well.
Mm-hmm.
And his pitch was, "Hey, I'll give you all guys a dance at Washington Hall tomorrow, which was Saturday." And he gave them the dance, and that stopped everything.
Awesome.
But the story that you all are getting is not the true story. And he wanted me to make sure that before he passed away from here, that this would be told. Because it was kind of heavy on his heart.
Right.
And I don't know, he said he don't know how long he's going to live, but he's ready to go. So I'm giving him my word. And I gave him my word. I say I will mention it. And that's what happened when we had that riot.
Mm-hmm.
And then Monday or Tuesday, they had me all in the paper, Donald Snowden, Reb Snowden's son, went to Maryland, the whole daggone 9 yards.
Right.
But it ain't changed much.
Mm.
But it was just the Wall Street Hall. Did you know where that was?
What was that, sir?
The Wall Street Hall. Did you know where that was?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
You know where the parking lot is now on Washington Street and Calvert Street? And,
yes.
Washington Street. You know the entrance of the parking lot on Clay Street?
Yes, sir.
Where you drive into, that was the door to the pool room.
Oh, okay.
And then the Wall Street Hall was a couple doors down from it at the end of the parking lot. And it was right in there.
Oh, okay.
And that's where they had dances at, and that type of thing. And I think it had something to do with the Masons or something. And then the band, like I said, they were very popular and everything like that. So they're going to jump on a free dance.
No, you know that anything free.
So that's what really happened in that situation.
Wow.
Right. So I told him I would mention it, and how our prayers and everything for him because his time is short. And he knew it. And he said, "I'm ready."
But I'm proud to say that I'm happy that you guys were there. Obviously, it was before our time. But stories like that need to get out, and that's one of the reasons why Armin came up with what we're doing right now. And it's a shame that so many of us don't know the true facts. We only know the facts that were fed to us after they were cleaned up. After they were cleaned up, then they said, "This is what we're going to put out." But we need more patriots such as yourself to be put on the platform. So us, I'm not going to say younger, the guys behind you.
Yeah.
I'm not younger. I'm 65. But, for us, so we can pass it on to the ones that's coming up from behind us. We must know.
Good, I'm sorry.
I said we must know the truth.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is that they had a documentary. I don't know whether you all saw the documentary, and that Janice Hayes was the one that put it out.
Sure did.
and you had Pip Moyer and Zastro side by side walking down West Street with the debris all over the place and everything like that. And, had that heading stating that, they were the ones that did the, what's the name, stop the riot and everything like that. And they ain't never had a riot in Annapolis before then.
Wow. Yeah, I remember.
Because we were a small population. There wasn't more than about 15 or 20,000 of us, and we lived where? We lived in the projects. So they knew where we were.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't a whole lot of us. So we didn't have too much of a say. And those ones that were in City Hall and aldermen and everything like that, they was just playing the game. And they would come around on holidays, not on holidays, what that day is, vote days.
Election day.
Yeah, election day.
Mm-hmm.
Pass out some money and talk to people, and that type of thing. And that's how it was. And when you look at Maryland, Annapolis is the capital. Look how small Annapolis is.
Absolutely.
But then at the same time, look at the power that's in Annapolis.
That's true.
You got the State House. You got the courthouse. You got the governor's mansion. You got the lieutenant governor. You got the House of Delegates. You got the controller.
Yeah, you got the mayor.
You got the mayor. You got the city hall. I mean, all of it's here in this little town. So, they ain't gonna pay too much attention to us.
That's true.
And so when you look at it from that standpoint of view, then you have the brothers and everything supposed to be brothers, they're on the take too.
Wow.
So you don't really get the authority, or you don't get the representation that you need to be able to go forward.
Right.
And like with us, we never got no support from the city. We never got no support from the recreation department. We ain't never get no help from nobody. It was just us and our mother that started that. And we did everything that we could. We would call ourselves ambassadors because we did more good outside of Annapolis than we did good in Annapolis. Not so much we did good, but I'm just saying. And by being ambassadors, the people in Baltimore, the people in southern part of the county, the people in south part of the county, the people in Baltimore and that type of thing, Glen Burnie and those type places, all of them people recognized us.
Right.
But what Jesus said, you can't have a Western name. You're not a prophet in your own hometown. You're not recognized in your own hometown or something like that.
I understand what you're saying.
And we were ostracized, So once and the only time that we got the proclamations when we went to the Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to the Nationals, I think it was in 81 or something like that. And we came in the third place. Because George Jenkins and his team, they went and run the whole shooting match.
Yeah.
And I give them a shout out, because all of them came from us.
Right.
All the teams in the county and everything like up to Baltimore came from us. And then the guys in the Baltimore was crazy about us after a while. And we started tailgating too as well. It was a young lady named Miss Cisco. What's her first name? I can't think of her first name, but they used to come up here on a regular basis and they used to bring food in their car or they used to eat food. Then all of a sudden it became a thing where it was a lot of people up there. So they brought food up there. And that's where we started tailgating. And that's when the people in Baltimore fell in love with us. And then they would bet on us, man. They would bet heavy, especially when we played sports or the Cowboys or Midwest, because Midwest and a portion of them, they were nasty. They were the ones that had the professional ball players and college players and everything like that.
Right.
And they would bet some heavy change, thousands of dollars on us.
Whew.
Yeah, they were serious. And the guys that came up there from Annapolis, they ain't care. They said, yeah, put it out there. Let's do it. Let's do it. And that's how it went. And so the guys up there, the guys from the ports and Midwest and everything like that, invited us to their clubhouse. We were a part of them. But we wasn't able to play there for 10 years.
Oh.
5 or 10 years.
Why? Why is that?
Because they didn't recognize us. We didn't get no publicity or anything like that. So we saw Wims Whaling. You know where Wims Whaling is, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, it had a lot of debris on the ground and everything like that, trees and tree stumps and leaves and trash and everything. So we just went out there a few weeks and cleaned it up. And then we started practicing out there. And then they took it over because they would have had the place.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But they had abandoned it. You know what I mean? It was just there.
Right.
And then once we cleaned it up and everything like that, that's when they decided to say, okay, now we're going to take it on our auspices. And we're going to make it a regular field for the teams in Annapolis. So, but then they finally let us have the field.
Uh-huh.
And once we had the field, then we had all-star games down there and everything.
Mm.
But that took about 10 years, like I'm saying. So we had to go back and forth from Baltimore sometimes 2 and 3 times a week, especially when you're playing in playoffs.
Right.
And play a game and that type of thing.
Mm.
And we would go up there, then, we didn't have much. We had some sponsors at times, and they help us with the uniforms and so forth and so on. But so far as getting up there, we had to pay 50 cents or $1, all of us, to pay the bus driver.
Mm.
And we went up in our school bus and everything, that yellow bus that we had. And we went up there, and this was a team that was called, I think it was National Bowl or something like that. They had won 22 straight games, a white team.
Woo.
22 straight games. And we played them and we beat them.
So they 22-1.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
22-1. Yeah.
And then another thing about us is that we were integrated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if I said this before, but we had a guy named Tony Kristoff. He's an attorney.
Uh-huh.
Anthony Kristoff. And he used to play with one of the teams in the county. And as he played with one of the teams in the county, he found out that we weren't playing anymore. So before we got into Baltimore, he came to us and said, can he play for us? And we said, yeah, man, no problem. So he played with us about, I don't know, 10 years or something like that. So those are the kinds of people that we had on our team, professional people, and that type of thing.
That's awesome. But
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it over to Armin now.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, King. So before I shoot my questions at you, I gotta tell everybody who's on YouTube, please, you're on YouTube for the first time, subscribe to the show, subscribe to our show, and also, King, you have a lot of family members, and one of them said this. Did you see that?
Where?
No matter how many times I hear my dad tell these stories, the more I learn. It's just like I'm hearing this for the first time. I love it.
Oh, bless his heart. It must be my son.
Hey, but King. All right. During a time of social unrest, all right, you had gangs out there as well, as far as a gang called the Hawks. Somebody by the name of Hot Mouth was.
Yeah, Sonny. Yeah, I know him. Jimmy.
What is that about?
Well, it was the thing where the Hawks were a little gang.
Uh-huh.
And they used to hang around down on Calvert Street and Clay Street, because it was really sectioned off. Okay, you had from down the bottom of Clay Street Hill up to the top of the Clay Street Hill, where you intersected Pleasant Street and Clay Street. We could not go down that hill to Cotson's and those stores that were down there, because that was an area where it was barred from us, and that's where the Hawks roamed. And once you went down there, you was in trouble, because I went down there a few times and the guy took my money.
What?
Yeah. It was sectioned off like that for a long time. So it was a sectional thing.
Wow.
And they had stores over in my area, which was called Miss Hen's, right down there at the bottom of Clay Street Hill as you make that turn. Was on the left-hand side. Her name was Miss Hing. Then on the top of the hill, you had Carson right on Pleasant Street. Then at the bottom of the hill, you had Raymond Carson. Then just right across from the street from them, it was another store. And then at the end on Calvert Street, there was another store that was called Jake Levin's, what liquor store was.
Mm.
And then where the parking lot is at the end of Northwest Street is where they had the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I remember that on West Street.
On West Washington Street, down at the end where the parking lot is on the left-hand side.
Yeah, on the top of the circle.
No, the bottom. You know where you go? You know where you go on Northwest Street and you see the what do you call it? The cemetery.
Oh, okay, I know where you're talking now. Yeah.
And it's down there and you have a parking lot right on the left-hand side or on the right-hand side. And that's where the movie was. That's where the movie was.
So King, you know, this is your night, right?
Hold on, baby.
Huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
This is your night, but you just made a violation. You know that, right?
Now, no, I no. Now I know. It's okay. That's why I didn't answer it. So I'm getting better.
Hey, so looking back, right? What role do you think sports, particularly teams like the Flames, played in fostering unity and resilience in the Annapolis community?
Well, you know, I was saying it was an adversarial thing, and I'm talking about individuals. You know, we didn't really set up a program or anything like that. It was just an idea of us having one-on-one with youth in the community. And we helped them to develop whatever they wanted to develop. Because we didn't have the capacity to have a club or anything like that. You know what I mean? Because our focus was mainly on playing for ourselves. But then at the same time, for whatever we could do with the kids in the community and that type of thing, you know, we took them places or we took them to games. And especially when they had the thing at Stanton Center, it was Astro in there. Woo! With Astro in them. And we always was there for them to need help. We also coached the teams that they had out there, you know, at that particular time. And we showed them the skills of the game and so forth and so on. So that was our contribution to it. And now they knew who to come to when they wanted to know anything about sports. And they would come to us.
Wow.
And but that's what I'm saying. You know, we were more advocates and we were more of a what do you call it? A team that didn't have a home.
Yeah.
But the kids in the community knew who we were. And so a lot of us came to me, like with me, I was one that gave a lot of tutelage to a lot of the kids, the ones that would come to the pool room, like Michael Church and them. And they would ask me about math and chemistry, you know, and that type of thing. So I tutored a lot of kids, and my brothers and them tutored a lot of kids and that type of thing. But that was the thing that, you know, it wasn't publicized or anything like that. That's just sort of the things that we did.
Got you. So what I'm gonna do now, King, I'm gonna refer back to Ayana. We're gonna get ready to wrap this up.
Okay.
Bring you back because there's a lot of questions that we have for you. But before doing so, I think I was just slapped on the wrist by Lanita Hill. She said, when I told you that you had a violation, she said age supersedes. So she was telling me to step back.
No, she was telling you to shut up.
Well, yeah. Hey, you can't tell me to shut up on this show now. You know, but she did. Hey, go ahead, Ayana. On you.
Yeah, so in working with youth, you know, I'm a person who's also had experience working with youth. And there's always that one story that you'll never forget. Tell us about, you know, you don't have to mention the person's name, but just give us a story that, you know, has stuck with you throughout these years that you'll never forget, that, you know, like an impact you've had on someone's life.
I saved 5 lives, literally. And I was talking about Donnie Green that played with the Buffalo Bills. I saved him from drowning. I saved my my cousin from drowning. I saved Ronnie Groves from overdose.
Mm.
I saved the lady in Canada from overdose. And I saved my brother because the guy had a gun.
Mm.
He was aiming at him. He wanted to shoot him. And I walked in front of him with the gun loaded, and he was aiming at him. And I told him, "Don't shoot my brother, shoot me." And I was right in his face.
Wow.
And he put the gun down. And then, when the Van X had the dances and everything like that, and I used to collect money, at the door and that type of thing, they always did have some fights down there or something like that. I always was in there and saving people's lives and so forth. So, yeah, I had a lot of situations where I saved a lot. And then I saved my mother's life as well because she fell overboard and I went and picked her up, stop her from drowning. And then another thing is in high school, well, that Stanton Center was Annapolis, in town that we went to in elementary school. But then we went to Bates, and we went to Bates until we was in the 6th grade. But it was an annex out there before it became Bates High School. And then later on, it became Bates High School because they added the other part to it. So, but 2,500 people from North County to South County came to that school. Everybody in the county came to that school. And they had to get up 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
To come to the school. And it was, I think, as far as the farthest place down there was Gainesville and places like that. And as far up as Darcy, as Darcy. So everything was segregated. So you couldn't have, and not Bates High School, Annapolis, it was right across the street.
Right.
And then we had to walk to school. And I'm talking about from in town.
Mm-hmm.
So we weren't bused or anything like that. And so I was just the person that was always looking out for somebody else other than myself. And so
Wow.
those were the lives that I saved.
Wow. A real life hero. I said a real life hero.
Those are the things that was indelible in my mind, and those are the things that I just knew to do because of what we were taught. And we were always taught to help other people.
Mm.
And that came from my mother. And she was very angelic and everything like that. And how she got me through school, I'll never know. Except that, she was a praying mother and everything like that. And she was the spark that ignited the flame.
Wow. Roger, it's on you for your last question.
Well, I really don't have any questions. I want to say thank you for everything that you have done and for being a pillar in this community. And like Armin said, we're going to have you back because it's a lot of questions that's there because these people are blowing up the comment section. Like Armin Uncle said, who was your biggest rival? Who was you guys' biggest rival when you was playing football?
Flag football or high school football?
I think he's saying flag football.
Dorsey Harmons and the Ports and Midwest.
Okay.
Yeah, that was easy.
Okay. Yeah, he had put that on there, but I'm gonna go on and pass it back to Armin, and I want to say thank you again for appearing on the show, but mostly for the knowledge that you have obtained, that we have obtained by talking to you. I mean, you really told a lot, and I really wish my dad was here because I'm quite sure he would have enjoyed this, and he probably would have wanted to say a couple things to you himself.
Yeah. Well, he was a beautiful man, and every time I see him, I say, "How fast you running now?"
Well, he ran fast enough. He ran fast enough to have 10 kids, so I guess he was.
Hey, 16, Roger.
Oh, those are the ones we don't know about, or we're not talking about.
Those are the ones I know about. You're absolutely right. Everybody.
Oh, goodness.
But I want to give a shout out to Roland Brown, especially to let him know, that I made people aware of his situation and that type of thing, because like I say, he doesn't expect to be around too long, and he made that known to me.
So, King, if you could share one message with the community and future generations about the legacy of the Flames and your journey, what would it be?
To believe in yourself and know yourself.
Boom.
Because what happens is that we always say kids ain't this and kids ain't that this day and time. But people don't know that children make the parent.
Right.
It's not the other way around. It's the children that make the parent. So a child will have to continue to deal with their mother and their father to make them know what they want to be all about.
Yes.
Because after a while, when they get into the formative, when they get into the adolescence years and everything, like, it's damn too late because of the influence out there with the community, and that type of thing. So you got to get them from the cradle, brother, and teach them the love that they need, and tell them what love is, and show them the love that you have for them. Because it's kind of too late once you start getting up there, 12 and 13 years old and preteen, and that type of thing, or even in elementary school. You have to, because from 1 to 2, you are what? You're in a spiritual realm. From 0 to 1.5 to 2, you're in a spiritual realm. But after 2 years old, why they call them the terrible twos? Because they're then coming into the physical realm.
Mm-hmm.
And see, once they leave that and come into the physical realm, then it's a thing of them trying to adjust to what's happening, because they ain't never been there before. And so that's when you have to be able to nurture them and give them the love that is needed so they can know who they are and what they want to be. Because when you're trying to talk to community now, and you got these kids out there, they don't even know what the hell is going on so far as their own family life is concerned. Then you don't have the parents because they're working too much, and that type of thing. And they don't have a time to just sit down and love their kids and tell them what the kids need and what they want. That's what I have for them, to be able to understand who you are and what you want to be, but it has to come from the nurturing of your parents.
Right.
Awesome. Wow, that was well put.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, you know what, King? This has really been great, and I think what I'm gonna do is give away a gift. Give away a gift today and give away a gift next week. But my number is on the screen, and if you are the 5th caller, and you can tell me the name of our guest, you can tell me the name of our guest, the 5th caller, you're gonna win a Legends from the Past and Future, either shirt, hoodie, or hat. I don't know yet. So you're on the clock. 240-603-1743.
Can I say one other thing, please?
Go ahead.
Wayne Gerald. Wayne Gerald is my friend, more than a friend.
Yeah.
And he is the one that helped to ignite this spark.
Awesome.
Again. And it was another guy that I want to give a shout out to. His name is Charles Butler. Okay. And I just want to say this, how all this transpired, and I'm not going to take long. What happened was that Charles Butler was out at Elton's house. And I happened to be there. I live in North Carolina, but I came up to visit. So I was there when Charles Butler was talking to Elton about his legacy. And he said, we need to do something about this for the Flames. We have to do something. And he said, I'm going to do what I can do. 3 months later, Elton was on your show.
Yeah.
Right.
Because of him. Okay, now here I am on the show, and this is how the spark continues. That spark from what's the name, and I'm talking about Charles Butler, hit you 3 months ago. That spark then hit Wayne Gerald And he called me up and said, man, we got to do this. About 4 months later.
Awesome.
So when you talk about time, that's how it works. From one person to another person, then it begins to expedite itself. And then when we come to broadcast and that type of thing, then you have all the people in the community beginning to coalesce, to come together and say, yeah, we got to do this. So that's why I want to give a shout out to them.
Awesome. You know, you mentioned Wayne Gerald's name. Wayne Gerald's going to be our guest January the 8th.
Okay.
He'll be our guest on January the 8th. And again, the 5th caller, if you can tell me the name of our guest tonight, 240-603-1743, you will win a prize. The 5th caller.
And one other thing, Elton is in a nursing home.
Oh, he
Elton is in rehab.
Okay.
He was in the hospital a month ago, and he was suffering from an aneurysm in his leg. And he stayed in the hospital, I think it was for about 3 weeks to a month, or 2 weeks or something like that. And now he's in rehab over there next to Memorial's place.
Wow.
So I just want to put that out there so people know what's happening to him and everything like that. But he's kind of slowing down, you know what I mean? And his dimension is not getting any better. So that's another thing that I want to put out there so, you know, we can be able to pray for him and do all the things that we need to do to help him hang around a little while longer without having been so suffering.
Got you. Okay.
So thank you all. I appreciate it.
Hold tight. You call number 1. You're on the clock. We have 1 caller.
Might just be the one.
You got about 5 minutes to call in and win this prize.
That's too long. 1 minute.
You calling number 2.
That's too long. 1 minute.
You calling number 3. You calling number 3. All right. You got about 2 more minutes. We got 3 callers. We looking for caller number 5.
That's 240-603-1743.
You calling number 4.
Next call is the winner. Let's go.
I'm gonna put you on the speaker. All right, you just got through winning the prize. What's your name?
It's your sister. Sister one.
Yeah, that's his sister.
Which one is that?
Sandra.
Hey, you are the winner, Sandra. I'll be calling you back, okay? I'll be calling you back so we can decide on what you want, okay? All right, okay. All right, we got a winner. You can stop calling.
Wonderful. While you wind that down, just want to thank our sponsors. Thank you so much, Mr. Ivy Stokes and My Econ, Mr. Carol H. Henson Jr., and the lovely couple I'm on with the couple, the real estate couple.
J&J Real Estate Company.
J&J Real Estate. Thank you so much for our sponsors. If you would like to become a sponsor, you can visit us on our website at pastandfuturelegends.com, and all the information is there on our website. You can become a donor, you can become a sponsor, you can buy some of this wonderful merch that Amon is giving away, and much more. Thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight, Mr. Snowden. This has been a great show. And Amon, you can go ahead and take us out.
I'd like to thank everybody who joined us tonight. Come back next week. We're gonna have another great show, and we're gonna talk about health next week. We're gonna have a health corner next week. You know, it's the holidays and a lot of eating, and we're gonna talk about how come why it's important to eat healthy. Okay, or you can enjoy yourself, throughout the holidays. Eat what you want to eat, no problem. But we're gonna have a health corner next week. Okay. Until then, see everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight, and peace.
Good night, everybody.
Peace.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, Mr. Snowden.
Yeah, they call me king now. I'm a king.
Oh, my bad. Thank you, King. Thank you, King Snowden.
I appreciate it.
There you go. I got it right.
Yeah.